Father's Day, I waited for the warmth of a hug that I hadn't had in 5 years when my son said, "A gift for my father-in-law, wishing you all the best." No words, no hugs for his father. I quietly left, heartbroken by that betrayal. But I returned, not to ask for a hug, but to set boundaries for myself. Revenge? No, it was justice. Before we continue, please subscribe and let us know where you are listening in the comments. Father's Day. Paul's house was lit like a small stage. The smells of grilled meat, sauce, and polished wood braided together in the cool stream from the AC. I stood at the threshold just long enough for my eyes to adjust to the warm light, then stepped in and nodded to each person. Paul already had a glass of wine in hand like a director holding a clapperboard, waiting for the exact moment to snap it shut. To the man of the family, he raised his glass, lordly as always. The table answered with a chorus of cheers. Right after the clink came the light clatter of forks on plates. Tyler glanced my way and then latched onto Paul's shoulder. Half intimacy, half display. The corner of his mouth lifted as if drawn by a ruler. I took the end chair on purpose, a spot where I could see every angle and say the least. I poured water. The rim of the glass brushed the edge of my plate with a thin, dry tink, like a clock hand tapping a tin lid. Paul launched into a new contract. He read off partner names like a guest list of people destined to witness the brilliance of his life. Lena nodded, praising her father-in-law for investing in his image. I listened without taking any of it down. I used my ears to measure distance instead, the space between the speaker and the listeners, between a laugh and the half-second the eyes slide aside. I've learned those gaps speak more accurately than words. Now the fun part. Tyler set a hand on a gift wrapped in silver paper. He stood and smoothed his shirt as if stepping onto a stage. "A present for my father-in-law," he said, trying for casual, but his eyes couldn't swallow all that pride. The ribbon snapped. Velvet lit up. A black dial flashed steel under the kitchen lights. The leather strap carried the clean scent of new. $8,000, someone breathed, half joking, half bragging for him. Paul lifted his wrist and turned it slowly, exactly the way a man does when he knows he's being watched. Tyler leaned in and hugged Paul. A warm hug I haven't had from my own son in a long time. Lena, my daughter-in-law, slid a small package toward me. Rough paper, the price tag still on, $15. "Practical, Dad, so you won't scrape your hands fixing pipes." The words came with a thin smile. I nodded. "Thank you." 2 words and only 2. No toast rose for the gloves. Just the fork taps kept going and the AC hummed overhead. Tyler drifted past. No hug, no greeting. All the attention settled on that watch, while the gloves were true to their nature, cheap and treated that way. When the conversation drifted to Phoenix weather and the new supermarket's parking lot, the 2 gifts were set back in the center of the table. The watch gleamed under the light like a cool strip of metal. The knit gloves lay beside it, the white tag unpeeled and pointing at the ceiling. I slipped my phone from my pocket and cupped the screen in my palm. From a distance, it looked like I was just checking the time. I nudged the angle, tapped once. In the middle of Paul's laugh, I tapped again. 2 frames, the watch face with the boutique logo embossed inside the lid, and the gloves with the tag still on. I lowered the phone, let the screen go black, quiet as a nightlight switching off. No one noticed. Only I knew I'd kept 2 thin slices of the evening, written in light. Paul clinked glasses with Tyler. "A man should know how to enjoy himself," he said loudly. "Not work all the time like some people." His eyes slid past me for half a beat, then returned to his new wrist. I poured more water. "Congratulations," I said softly. Let the words fall in front of me and stay there. Phrases like that don't need a catcher. I said my goodbyes and asked to head out early. "I've got a job site at dawn," I said. Paul waved me off. "It's a holiday. What job site? Stay and have fun." I gave a small wave and took my coat. At the threshold, I looked back once. Tyler was still bubbling at his father-in-law and the cluster of partners. Lena sat beside them. No one looked my way. The watch still lay exactly in the center of the light, like a stone placed on a scales pivot. The gloves, tag and all, were still in my hand. A dense sadness pressed under my sternum, then slid fast, leaving something harder, colder. I said goodbye, opened the door, and stepped onto the porch. The heat hit my face like someone closing a hot book against skin. In the truck, I killed the dome light. The cab folded in. Dish soap clung to my fingers. Time went strange. I'd been sitting 30 minutes and my head was empty. I looked toward my son's house. Same glow, glossy to the eye, but my chest felt cold. I opened notes, date, time, address, who was present. When the gift was opened, a separate line, glove tag still on. I saved and locked the screen. I don't trust memory when it's sad. I trust the record. The road home was nearly empty. A red light rose like a period, forcing me to stop and draw a long breath. I cracked the window and let desert air thread my collar, push the cheap wine smell out. Some scents belong only to other people's houses. At my place, the kitchen lit with a single tap. Warm light doesn't flatter anyone. It just lets a room be what it is, quiet and honest. I set the keys on the table, pulled a stack of A4, booted the printer. The two photos slid out, the paper edges still warm. I left them a few minutes to dry. The store's logo was sharp inside the box lid, the stitching on the leather strap crisp as fresh asphalt. The glove's white tag stood up straight like a reminder. I slid both into an empty folder. No label, not time to name anything. Mr. Coffee wheezed like an old man. I poured half a cup and sat on the bench by the window. The day shrank to 3 images. Paul's wrist under the kitchen light, Tyler's tilted smile, and Lena's practical right, hanging in the air like a strip of tape over someone's mouth. I didn't chase them. I let them wear themselves out and drop. I watched the tiny red LED on the air purifier blink in a patient appliance kind of way. The phone vibrated. Tyler calling. I let it ring out. A second time. I still let it. The screen left a thin shine on the tabletop and went dark. I opened email and typed a subject line. Authorized user controls, shuck ACH limits. Draft. A few short lines. Do not raise limit. Consider stop payment if needed. Enable alerts for large transactions. I paused, breathed, and moved the email to drafts. I leaned back and stared at the ceiling and asked myself if I should do it. I stood, opened the folder, and looked at the 2 photos again. I didn't look at the price. I looked at the source. The boutique logo under the lid like an accidental seal. I folded the folder and slid it into the drawer. No label, just paper. I washed the cup, a tiny chip on the handle. My fingertip skimmed it like a finger over a sun-cracked seam. I remembered Tyler at 10 on the pickup's back bench, laughing when his ice cream lost half to the pavement. That laugh was light as foam. Then time moved on in payments I poured out without counting. I thought opening my wallet would hold the family close. Maybe I was wrong. Not because money is bad, but because I used it to fill places that needed words, needed time, needed the falls a boy has to take himself. Outside, wind slapped through the trees, leaves whispering like someone fumbling in the dark. Phoenix breathed like a low fire. I went back to the table, opened my phone, and added one more line to the note. Tomorrow, stay quiet. Work the paperwork. The phone buzzed again. Family group lit up. Lena posted a photo of Paul with the watch. Perfect on you, Dad. Wine glass emoji, a handful of hearts. I typed, congratulations, then muted the thread. I won't let notifications paw at my sleep. I stood in the office doorway. The yellow binder sat on the desk, spine slick and blank. I touched the cover's edge. Didn't open it. I'll open it in the morning, not tonight. I don't trust explanations or decisions made angry. I trust ink and signatures. I dragged a chair beside the window and leaned back. The old calluses from summers up in attics, installing AC units, still rough my hands. No one admires those at a dinner table. They just quietly keep the mortgage paid on time. I closed my eyes for a minute and didn't pray. I walked the kitchen one last time before the lights went out. The sink was dry, the table clean. The two photos rested in the drawer like cool stones. The draft email waited like a folding knife not yet flicked open. I killed the light. The room dropped one shade darker, leaving only the purifier's red dot. I spoke in my head, a small order to myself. I'll keep quiet so the paperwork can speak. Morning will arrive on its own clock, but tonight I leave everything as it is. Not out of weakness, because it's time to pause long enough to hear the ink run slow inside the decisions. 6:55 a.m. The only sounds in my kitchen were the AC and water dripping slow into the sink. I set my phone on the table, sat up straight, black coffee in my left hand, the yellow binder resting an elbow's length away. I dialed card services. The hold music was a tune no one ever means to memorize. Two-factor verification, Mr. Avery. Asia woman's voice in my ear. Polite the way you get when you've read the script 1,000 times. I answered the security questions, repeated where I opened the account and the street with 2 S's in my old address. Thank you. I need to freeze my son's authorized card immediately. I spoke each word like tightening a bolt. Slow, steady, on the right threads. Frozen, effective now, she read. Temporary lock code T7 to 19K043. Note, to permanently revoke access and restrict ACH transfers to a pre-approved recipient list, you'll need to bring original documents to a branch during business hours. I repeated the code and wrote it on a yellow sticky, T7 19K043. I stuck it to the binder's edge. Thank you. I hung up. The house stayed as quiet as a cool storeroom. I took another sip of coffee. Lock fast before anyone can pull cash. 8:05 a.m. I pulled into a gas station on my way into the city. Phoenix sun already well done. The pump beeped, the smell of gas spread thin around my boots. My phone buzzed. Tyler. I let it ring one beat, then answered. Are you kidding me? Card got declined. His voice was dry and pitched up at the last word. A car door slammed behind him. From now on, we communicate in writing, I said. Send an email. I'm pumping gas. People are looking. He was almost growling. I'll respond when I receive an email. I spoke slowly enough that the words didn't stick to each other. I hung up before the cursing could start. A bank alert popped up at once. Recent transaction attempt declined. No dollar amount, no details. I took a screenshot and dropped it into an album called 30 Days. The pump clicked off. I holstered the nozzle and looked up at the cloudless sky. Some angers just need enough sun to dry out. 9:10 a.m. The branch smelled like new carpet and printer ink. The line was a thin slice of people. I pulled a number. The screen called my name. Janelle Reed, her badge read, I want to permanently revoke an authorized card and restrict transfers to the pre-approved recipient list only. Janelle listened and typed. We'll need a member board resolution, the operating agreement, and certified articles. Originals or certified copies. Photocopies aren't sufficient. She slid me a printed checklist. I've got photocopies right now, I said. Sorry, insufficient to change spending authority. Janelle repeated, neither hard nor soft. Once we receive the set, changes take effect by close of business. She paused, looking at me over her frames. And note, card services doesn't release transaction details without legal process, but we can enable alerts. I nodded and tucked the checklist into the binder. My phone buzzed. Paul. I let it ring 3 times, then answered. Don't embarrass the family, he said. No hello. Be at my house Saturday. We talk like adults. Please send the invite by email, I replied. I only confirm by email. I hung up. Janelle looked at me like she'd heard that last line. I offered a small smile instead of an explanation. 10:20 a.m. My office smelled like sheet metal and fine dust from ductwork. I set the yellow binder on the desk, opened Word and titled a file, Meeting Minutes, Avery Cooling LLC. Lines appeared as I typed, revoking all spending authority of Tyler Avery, canceling all authorized cards, allowing transfers only to pre-approved recipients on file with the company. I printed 2 copies. Through the window, I saw Rosa Park walk by with her short-haired hound. I opened the door and called, Rosa, have a minute? Rosa has lived across from me 15 years, used to be an elementary school secretary. She reads what other people miss, clean and quick. You need me to witness? She asked, seeing the pages. Yeah, just confirm date and time and that you saw me sign. Rosa put on her glasses, read end to end, nodded, and signed Rosa Park under witness. You okay? She asked softly, handing the pen back. I'm okay, I said. Thank you. I clipped the signed copy into the binder. 11:05 a.m. The UPS store was packed with shippers. A blue notary sign hung crooked. Mr. Ortiz, the man with the small glasses, looked over my papers. The entity name differs. First line says Avery Cooling LLC. The last line says Avery Cooling LLC. He tapped the comma. I'll reprint, I said. I stepped to the self-print station and fixed it. The new copy slid out, paper still warm. Mr. Ortiz checked it letter by letter and nodded. The notary seal pressed down, the purple ink still wet. He looked again and added an acknowledged stamp on the last page. Done. 11:40 a.m. I drove to the state business registry. The lot baked like an oven. Inside, the number machine sat quiet. I filled the request for certified copies of the entity file. The cashier stamped a receipt. Pick up at 2:30, I checked my watch. 3 hours. 3, enough to turn the rest of the gears. 1:30 p.m., I called my 3 main vendors. Please pause transactions for me. No new POs for 7 days. An accountant asked, there's a small payable pending. Want to clear it? Later, I said. Thank you. I wrote the time and the person's name in my book. I've learned logging the time keeps the truth near shore. 2:05 p.m., I called a tow company. I need to recover a company vehicle assigned to Tyler Avery. Plate, location, the lot in front of his apartment. We'll need proof of ownership and a release of liability, the dispatcher said. I have the registration and a photo of the title. I'll complete your form. We can slot 8:01 a.m. tomorrow. Driver is Miguel. Good. Give me Miguel's number. A text landed right after. Miguel, 8:00 a.m. tomorrow. I looked at the name and saved it. Specific names make me feel like the work has touched ground. The family group chat lit up like a fire alarm. Lena, cold-hearted financial control making the whole family suffer. A sneering gif. I typed one line. Please send email. Screenshot. Saved. I don't argue where people perform. 2:35 p.m. Back at the registry. The clerk handed over a brown envelope, a stack with raised seals. I checked each page and ran a finger over the emboss. Things lifted by pressure last longer. I clipped the certifications into the binder and headed back to the bank. 3:40 p.m. The branch had thinned out. Janelle waved me to window 4. I sat down. The notarized internal resolution, the certified articles, the operating agreement. My requests: permanently cancel all authorized cards, turn on large transaction alerts, and restrict transfers to pre-approved recipients only. Janelle verified each document and submitted the request. Card Services confirms the changes will take effect by close of business today, she said, eyes on the screen. And as noted, transaction details are only available via legal request. I understand. I'll print a branch's stamped confirmation letter, Janelle said, stepping toward the printer. I watched her straight back under the fluorescence. She returned and set a heavier sheet in front of me. Bright red seal, my name, the company's name, timestamp 4:12 p.m. Please review. I read slow with my eyes in my hands. Correct entity name, the right items requested, the sentence, effective by close of business. I signed the received byline. Janelle clipped a copy for the branch file and handed me the original. If there's unusual activity, the system reviews at 9 a.m. tomorrow, she added. 4:25 p.m. Paul called again. I let it ring once and answered. Saturday, 8 o'clock. Be there. Don't bring paperwork into my house. He spoke like an order. I'll come if there's an emailed invitation, I said, and I'll bring what's necessary. I hung up. I no longer let anyone define necessary for me. I went back to the office. Late light spread across the floor like brown cloth. I laid everything out on the desk. The red stamped confirmation, the notarized pages with purple ink still dark, the certified packet with raised seals, the handwritten vendor pause list, Miguel's number, the vehicle papers, Janelle's checklist with ticks. I took one overhead photo on my phone and filed it in 30 days. I loaded it all into the binder in order and slipped last night's 2 photos into the inside pocket. Paper with paper, their own private story. 5:15 p.m. The phone buzzed. Unusual activity will be reviewed at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The line appeared like knuckles wrapping a tabletop. I let the alert sit untapped. I stood at the window and watched the street. Rosa's dog ran circles around the shrubs, the leash drawing a lazy figure 8 in the grass. An email came from Lena. Saturday, thank you dinner for Dad, 8 p.m., Paul's house. Don't bring money talk to the table. I hit reply. I'll attend. Please send guest list and exact time. Thank you. Sent. I closed the laptop. Evening settled like an old tradesman. Did his part, didn't say much. I put the binder in the drawer alongside the folder with the 2 photos. No labels. I smoothed the cabinet edge with my hand. The wood was cool and flat. Some things need to be flat before other people see them. I washed my hands, water running over knuckles, mottled with old callus. The sound of it felt clean. I dried them, hung the towel, shut the kitchen down. In the thin dark, seals, codes, and signatures kept working like a night shift for the truth. I didn't need to say anything else. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., the system will speak for me. And if needed, I'll say again the 4 words that saved me from the noise all day. Please put it in writing. I sat at the kitchen table, the phone cupped between my hands like a small bird just caught. Morning light poured through the window and sliced into straight bands across the wood. The yellow binder lay to my left, already open to 30 days. I didn't make coffee. I wanted to hear the buzz more clearly. At exactly 9, the phone lit up. Bank calling, unusual activity monitoring. A steady baritone said, please verify. I answered each security question, remembered precisely the street where I opened my first account. Thank you, Mr. Avery. A few keystrokes on his end. We reviewed a series of block transactions this morning. 2 are noteworthy. Go on. First, 7:58 a.m. Attempted cash withdrawal at an out-of-network ATM on the north side of the city. Declined because the authorized card is temporarily frozen. I understand. Second, 8:11 a.m. An outgoing transfer request to a new recipient not on your pre-approved list. Amount, $12,400. Blocked for failing conditions. We've flagged it and opened an investigation file. You'll receive the case number shortly. I set my pen on the paper but didn't write yet. Would you read the exact timestamps again? 7:58 and 8:11 Phoenix time. Additionally, he cleared his throat to shift tone, the watch purchase from yesterday has posted as pending settlement. If you want to dispute it, the process is to submit an unauthorized use statement with supporting documentation, preferably notarized. If we don't receive sufficient documentation within 10 days, the hold will release automatically. 10 days, I repeated, listening to the number drop and hit the tabletop. Please send the case number. Yes, the investigation number is F1429AD. I'll email confirmation and place a stamped copy at the branch if you need an in-person pickup. Would you like to schedule a branch visit? I'll come in this morning. Great. Please bring certified company documents, the operating agreement, Members Shosh Board Resolution revoking spending authority in your ID. If notarization is needed, I recommend stopping by a notary first. I have those. We ended the call. I wrote in the notebook. 7:58, ATM withdrawal blocked. 8:11, outgoing transfer to new recipient. 12/400, blocked. F1429 AD. I slid out the two photos from last night's folder, the watch face blazing under the box lid, and the gloves with the tag still on. I set them beside the words 10 days. One hand reached for a paper clip, the other flipped the phone from vibrate to silent. I didn't want any ringtone cutting into this morning. 9:40 a.m. On my way to the bank, I called the watch boutique. I'd like to discuss a charge from yesterday, I said, clean and brief. The line routed me to a woman with a light, flexible voice. This is Anita, customer care. I'm the primary on a small business account. The charge appears to be from an authorized card. Can you confirm the bill to name for purposes of an investigation? We don't release invoices or details to third parties, Anita said, firm but not sharp. However, if your bank or the police contact us with a case number, we'll verify the bill to name per policy. Good. My bank's case number is F1429 AD. Then once the bank contacts us, we'll proceed. She paused a beat. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. It's fine, thank you. I saved Anita's extension in my contacts. Specific names keep the truth from sliding. At the branch, Janelle brought me into a small room with frosted glass. I received the internal memo on your file, she said. Investigations would like to speak on speaker. She dialed out. The same baritone from earlier came on, joined by a woman who introduced herself as the dispute handler. We'll need you to sign an unauthorized use statement for both the blocked ATM attempt and the outgoing transfer, the woman said. For the watch purchase, mark do not recognize this transaction with reasons and any documentation. Notarized is best. I have a notarized internal resolution already. Certified entity documents are here too. Thank you. Also, she added, to extend the hold on the watch charge beyond 10 days, we'll need a police incident number. No criminal investigation required. Just a report to obtain a number. Understood. I looked to Janelle. She nodded and pointed to a checklist. I'll call the non-emergency line as soon as we're done here, I said. We worked another 40 minutes. Janelle printed a pending investigation confirmation with a red stamp listing 3 items, blocked ATM at 7:58, blocked transfer at 8:11, watch charge pending settlement. She handed me the unauthorized use statement. You should sign in front of a notary. Makes it tight, she said. There's a notary on the corner. I signed my portion on the first page and left the notary line blank. Thank you, Janelle. 11:20 a.m. The corner notary smelled like fresh ink and the plastic of ring binders. The notary was a woman with curly hair. Name tag, Karen. You need me to acknowledge your signature and certify copies? Yes. Please include date and time on the seal. Karen checked the papers and my ID. Are the entity names matching in the header and the footer? Matching, I said. I'd learned that from Mr. Ortiz yesterday. Karen pressed the seal, dark blue ink, and wrote 1129 by hand. I paid, thanked her, and stepped into the shade to call the non-emergency police line. What are you reporting? A young man's voice asked. Unauthorized use of a company card and attempted cash withdrawal, plus an outgoing transfer request. I have the bank's investigation letter, photos, and the internal resolution. Are you threatened or unsafe right now? No, I just need a report number for the bank and the merchant. Okay, I'll create a file. Full name, address, estimated times of occurrence? I recited them like a memorized piece. 7:58, 8:11, and last night. Check your email within the hour. We'll send the report number and a summary. Thank you. 12:05 p.m. Back at the office, I fired up the printer. The bank's email arrived first. Confirmation of case F1429 AD. Please provide the notarized statement and police report number within 10 days. I printed it. 10 minutes later, the police email landed. Report PC 10873 with a PDF call summary. I printed and clipped them together. I forwarded everything to Janelle and the investigator, CCing the branch's general inbox. The subject line had only 2 words: supplemental documents. People open emails like that. 12:40 p.m. The phone buzzed again. Tyler. I let 7 rings run, then answered. Are you crazy? I was at a checkout counter and got declined. My friend saw. What do I say? You're humiliating me. I already told you. I kept my voice even. Everything in writing. What do you want? Money or your son? You want people to think you're a good father? You're smearing me. I'm not smearing anyone. I'm protecting the company from unauthorized withdrawals. My company, I said slowly. When you have a job, we can talk about something else. For now, please send an email. I hung up. My hands weren't shaking. Maybe because I'd put the day in the hands of pages with red stamps. 1:10 p.m. I opened a new file titled Timeline F1429AD. I keyed in each mark. Last night, 2 photos. This morning, 7:58, 8:11, 9 Mile, call to bank, 10:05, frosted glass room, 11:29, notary, 12:15, report PC 1873. I added a blank row for boutique verifies bill to name with the date awaiting bank contact. I exported to PDF and saved it. I emailed a copy to myself because I like to see it appear in my inbox as if from someone else, to believe it exists outside my head. Paul called, I let it ring, then answered. Then, Saturday, 8 o'clock, he repeated, as if I'd never answered before. My house, no paperwork. Men talk eye to eye. I'll bring what's necessary, I said. And I won't talk eye to eye. I talk on paper. You're making this family look bad. I'm making things clear. I hung up. I didn't need to say it any louder. 2:10 p.m., I rang the branch. Janelle picked up. I've sent the police number and the notarized statement, I said. Has investigations confirmed? Just received. I attached them to the file, she said. I also sent a reminder to the watch boutique. They'll verify the bill to name with us using your case number. Once confirmed, we'll maintain the hold during the investigation. I need an updated confirmation letter listing the documents received. I'll print and stamp it. Stop by this afternoon to pick it up. 2:40 p.m. I swung by the branch again. Janelle handed over a supplemental confirmation, listing the police report number, the notary's name, the time the email was received, in a bold line. Watch merchant charge will remain on hold during investigation. I thanked her. Could you also add new recipient blocked to the adjustment list? Noted, she said, turning the screen so I could see. The transfer list now showed only 3 familiar vendors. Any new recipient will require your in-person confirmation. That's enough. I stopped at the office supply store for more file folders. Back home, I spread everything on the table like a map. Top left, the 2 photos from last night. Top right, the morning confirmation, in the afternoon supplement. Center, the notarized statement and report, PC 1873. The lines of text formed a road you don't walk back down. 3:30 p.m., family group lit up. Lena, Saturday thank you dinner, 8 p.m., smart casual. A wine glass icon. I replied and noted, please send the guest list. Shulam. No one answered. But I watched the 3 dots appear and vanish a few times, like someone starting to speak, then swallowing it. Anita called back. Sorry to bother you, she said. Our team just received contact from your bank referencing case, F1429AD. Per policy, I only confirmed to the bank. But for your awareness, we have verified the bill to name as the legal entity under your company. We'll cooperate as requested. Thank you for the call. I hung up and tapped a note. Boutique verified bill to name with bank. 4:20 p.m. I don't need more than that. A neutral sentence is sometimes the firmest nail in the wall. I printed Timeline F1429AD and clipped it into the binder. I stuck a yellow tab on the binder's spine. 30 days. I still didn't label the folder with the 2 photos. I want them there like 2 cool stones, waiting their turn. Dust dropped like an old tradesman ending his shift. I turned off the kitchen light and left one lamp on in each room. The smell of fresh paper mixed with dry wood made my house feel like a small, cool office. I washed my face. Cold water woke the skin. I looked in the mirror. My eyes weren't red anymore. Maybe because I hadn't argued today, I just filled and signed. I remembered something. In every loud fight, people forget to let the ink dry. Today, I let the ink dry before speaking. Before bed, I opened my phone and reread the morning alert. Unusual activity will be reviewed at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I added one private line beneath it. Unusual human activity will also be reviewed at Saturday dinner. I locked the screen. My house rested as quiet as the last sentence of a letter. 9:10 a.m. A new email drops into my inbox. Paul's thank you dinner, week 4. From Lena. The body is polished like a printed card. Saturday 8:01 p.m. Paul's house, 12 seats. I hit reply all. I'll attend. Please send the guest list and exact arrival time. I send it and note the time in my book. I don't like anything to pass without leaving a mark. 2 minutes later, Paul replies to me alone. Not reply all. Limited to close guests. Don't turn dinner into a seminar. I type 3 words. I ask the list. Then I take a screenshot and file it in 30 days. I don't argue. I keep an exit for the truth through the email door. Janelle from the branch calls. Mr. Avery, about the bank confirmation letter you requested yesterday, she says. It needs the branch manager's signature and must reference the investigations case number. Hector, the manager, is in a meeting. You should be able to pick up a stamped hard copy tomorrow at 11 a.m. If he signs tonight, we'll scan and send it ahead. I need it before Saturday's dinner, I say. If you can scan it, the sooner the better. Understood. I've set a reminder. She pauses a beat. And I know the family noise. Let the papers talk. I still am, I say, and smile small enough not to touch the receiver. 11:30 a.m. I spread the papers across my desk. On one pending investigation letter, a corner shows a smudge of purple ink, probably my fingertip while it was still wet. On the bottom edge of another page, a page mark is missing. I call yesterday's notary, fully booked. Sorry, we're free this afternoon. I try another shop 1 street over. Yes, bring your papers and ID. The second notary smells like new binder plastic. The notary, a broad foreheaded man named Ellis, slides me a tissue when he sees the smear. We'll treat this page with a correction stamp, he says, pressing a small stamp right over the blur, then signs across it to make it plain. And we'll add page marks where they're missing. I sign each a stroke. He rereads the entity name top and bottom, pauses at the comma. Matches? One last seal, ink squeaking faintly on the paper. I let out a breath. Small tasks like cleaning a blot can pull a thorn from a chest. 12:32 p.m., Tyler calls. I let it ring long enough to take a sip of water, then answer. You're humiliating me. You're really bringing paperwork to Saturday dinner. What are you trying to pull in front of Paul's friends? From now on, email, I say. And I'm busy. I hang up. Somewhere else, anger is still foaming. Here, I dry the rim of the glass and slide the phone into the drawer. I send Anita at the Watch Boutique a PDF of the pending investigation letter with the red stamp. Here is the bank's case number, I write. When investigations contacts you, please verify the bill to name per policy. Also, if the store offers strap sizing or warranty registration, please let me know a time. Anita replies faster than I expect. We do not release invoices or details to third parties, she writes, exactly by the book. But upon formal request from the bank or police with a case number, we will verify the bill to name. Regarding concierge, on Saturday evening, I can stop by for the first 10-15 minutes to size the strap and assist with warranty registration, provided the watch's owner is present. My arrival window is 7:10-7:25 p.m. Thank you. Confirmed, I answer. I set a reminder. After I click send, my eyes land on the 2 photos tucked in the clear pocket, the watch face under the lid, and the gloves with the tag. One drew toast from the table. One got summed up in 2 words, Practical, right? I leave them in place like two flat stones. In the afternoon, Lena replies all, "Don't bring money talk to dinner," plus a smiling face. I don't respond. I forward it to Marcos, my attorney, with one short line. "Keep on file, I'll let the documents speak." Marcos replies, "Received. If you want me outside the door, say the word." 4:20 p.m., the family group blows up. Lena posts, "Cold-hearted financial control making the whole family suffer." Paul adds, "Take paperwork off the table at dinner." I type exactly one line and send, "I'm bringing what's necessary and I won't run long." Screenshot saved. Words don't come back, so you send them as whole sentences. The moment I set the phone down, Officer Cole calls. I'd left a message with community support at noon. "Cole here," he says, even tone. "You want me posted outside to observe and receive documents?" "Yes, I want to avoid friction. I'll seal the originals in a clear bag." "We only receive originals if the bag is still sealed with a chain of custody slip. Date, time, handoff names." I can swing by 7:45, 8 p.m. outside Paul's door. "Confirm a time?" 7:50, I say. "I'll bring the bag to the door." "Copy, I'll call on arrival." I call Anita back. "Confirm your window is 7:10, 7:25 p.m., correct?" "Correct. I'll only be there briefly to size the strap and facilitate warranty registration. I won't discuss payment with anyone outside official channels." "Thank you." I can see the road I want. They bring their toasts. I bring what's necessary. Near day's end, my desk turns into a line. The printer hums steady. I make 12 packets, each set containing 1. The photo of the watch box, store logo visible under the lid. 2. The Father's Day statement page, last 4 digits masked, boutique charge highlighted. 3. A demand letter sent at 2:15 p.m. today, requiring cessation of card use and refund of any unauthorized charges with proof of submission. 4. The email chain on owner draw that Tyler mentioned last week. I print exactly 3 emails, no commentary. Each packet clipped with a black binder clip, edges squared. The originals of the pending investigation letter and the notarized unauthorized use statement go into a clear, self-sealing evidence sleeve. I fill out the chain of custody slip. Date, time, location, contents, transfer, Glen Avery, recipient, Officer Cole, Police Department. I leave the signature line blank. I'll sign at the door in front of him. Rosa texts, "I'm invited tonight too. Need me to do anything?" I reply, "Just come as a neighbor. Thank you." I don't want to turn her into a side. I want her in the right place. Someone who sees and remembers the time. 6:30 p.m. An email arrives, guest list, 12 names. Paul and wife, Tyler and Lena, me, Rosa, 2 of Paul's friends, 2 of his neighbors, and 1 guest, Anita, concierge. I nod and say quietly to myself, "Enough." I print the list and tuck it inside my own set. I don't need it in anyone else's hands. I call Officer Cole, reconfirm 7:50 outside Paul's. "I'm en route," he says. I call Anita. "Are you close?" "5 minutes out. Just a quick stop." I line up 12 clear envelopes on the table like 12 squares on a board. I rehearse the sentence I'll say tonight, not an accusation, an opening. I'll keep this brief and put on the table what's necessary. I test the weight of each word. They sit right in the hand. The phone buzzes. Janelle. "I've got what you need," she says with a little brightness for having made it in time. "The bank confirmation letter has Hector's signature and the seal. I'm emailing a color scan right now. Please pick up the hard copy tomorrow." "Thank you." I stand before the call can end. 6:42 p.m. Email lands. Subject, bank confirmation letter, signed and stamped. I open it. On screen, the inked signature, Hector Alvarez, the round branch seal below, in a bold line. The bank confirms spending authority changes took effect as of close of business yesterday. Confirms investigations case F14229 AD and that the boutique charge will remain on hold during investigation. Confirms that any new transfer recipient must be approved by the account holder in person at a branch. I hit print. The printer whirs and pushes out a sheet glossier than usual. I lay it on top of all 12 packets like a lid that fits. I place the sealed originals in my case and clip the chain of custody form, signature line still blank, outside the sleeve. A blue pen goes in my shirt pocket. I switch off the office light. The hallway's warm glow is enough to catch the straight line of 12 clear envelopes, their backs reflecting a thin band of light. 6:49 p.m. I pull the door closed and pause 1 second to hear the hinge. I lift the case and feel my hands steady. Tonight they'll bring their toasts. I'll bring what's necessary, no more than a page, no less than a stamp. I lock up. The phone buzzes once. Arriving. Cole. I nod, though no one sees it. My workday is half finished. The rest belongs to ink, seals, and the clock. I step outside. Warm, dark. Phoenix exhaling heat off a freshly hosed street. I open the truck. In the dim cab, 12 clear envelopes sit silent like a dozen bricks laid in place for a bridge. I rest my palm on them for 1 second and leave the words there. 7:05 p.m. Paul's house glowed warm with that yellow light people choose to say family. A long dining table sat in the center, white cloth, flatware lined up like ruled marks. The smell of braised beef with rosemary mixed with polished wood. I stood on the threshold for one beat, drew a breath, then stepped in. Lena came over with a glass of wine. "You're here. Tonight is just for fun, okay?" She clinked her glass against the air, her eyes sliding over my case the way you glance at a cloud that doesn't belong. I only nodded. I set the case by my chair. The opening turned inward. A promise it would open only if needed. Anita arrived right on cue, a simple black dress, a small toolkit from the store in her hand. "I'm here for 10 minutes, she said softly to Paul, "just to help size the strap and register the warranty if needed." Paul nodded, polite smile. I stepped up, kept my voice neutral. "Ms. Anita, one technical question. For the room to hear so we're clear," I said, turning toward the table. "When the bank or police contact you with an investigation number, can the store verify the bill to name?" Anita looked around the table to be sure she had the request right, then answered properly. "We don't release detailed invoices to third parties, but when we receive a request from a bank or law enforcement with a case number, we verify the bill to name. With the case you submitted this afternoon, the information is being reconciled, and the bill to name matches the legal entity under your company." The room paused a hair, the way a bulb hesitates when you hit the switch. Tyler sipped wine, his lower lip twitching. Lena tipped her chin, half smile. "Don't bring money to the table, Dad. Tonight's about gratitude." Paul cleared his throat, trying to lift the air. Probably just a system mix-up. Paul's two friends traded a look. One whispered to the other, "Company card?" I added nothing. I let Anita's answer sit in the middle of the table like a flat stone. 7:18 p.m. I drew out my chair, set the case on the empty seat beside me, and opened it slowly. 12 clear envelopes lay still, like 12 bricks already fired. "I brought only what's necessary," I said, loud enough for the four corners, "and I won't run long." I passed a packet around the table, starting with Paul's wife, then his two friends, his two neighbors, Rosa, Paul, Lena, Tyler, and the rest. Anita stood by the kitchen doorway, checking her watch, hand on her small toolkit. Rosa stood near the wall clock. I saw her glance at the time each time a packet changed hands. "Page 1, I said, "is the photo of the Father's Day gift. 12 images. The watch box open, the dial quiet and bright. Beside it, the photo of the $15 gloves set apart, the yellow light turning their plastic sheen glossy." Someone drew a small breath. "Page 2, I turned, "is the company card statement. I masked the last 4 digits. The charge is marked same day." I didn't read the figure. I let other eyes read it. Let the numbers slide down their own throats. Page 3, I placed a finger, is the bank confirmation letter. The branch manager's signature, red seal, and the investigation case number. The bank states plainly, spending authority changes took effect as of close of business yesterday. The boutique charge is on hold pending investigation. Any new transfer recipient must be approved by the account holder in person at a branch. One of Paul's neighbors shook his head, just barely. One of Paul's business friends lifted his brows and murmured, "Charged on a company card?" Across the table, Tyler's neck flushed. He flipped through the packet with clumsy hands and said, tripping on the words, "That's an owner draw. Legit." Lena's smile thinned, whine in her voice. "Real men don't keep a ledger on gifts." I didn't answer. Anita kept to her lane. "The rest belongs to the bank's investigations team. I'm only here for strap sizing and warranty." She bent to her toolkit, a reminder she was there for a technical act without feelings. 7:27 p.m., the clink of flatware nicked together and stopped. Paul poured more wine as if wine could flood over the edge of paper. I set one more finger on the packet. "Page 4, I said, is the demand letter I sent at 2:15 p.m., requiring the card use to stop and any unauthorized charges to be returned. There's proof of submission. The window is 30 days. I looked straight at the table's edge, not at anyone. "Page 5, I went on, is the email where Tyler uses the term owner draw. I'm not commenting. The words can speak. Page 6, a light tap, is a screenshot from the family chat this afternoon. Cold-hearted financial control. I didn't respond there because I said, please put it in writing. I raised my head. Tonight, I'll still keep it brief. Tyler rapped the table. Wine shivered. "You're making me live in humiliation," he said, swapping pronouns the way you swap a knife for a hammer. Lena clicked her tongue. "This whole family suffers because of you." Paul chopped the air with his hand. "Enough. After dinner." But no one lifted a spoon. One of Paul's partners edged back from his chair, sidestepping Tyler's eyes. Paul's wife tugged his sleeve, gaze fixed on the cloth's hem. 7:34 p.m. Anita closed her toolkit. "I'll head out," she said, eyes flicking to me. "Regarding the bill to name, I've handled that with the bank under policy. I'm not taking sides with anyone in this room." The line was light as a lapel pin, but it fastened a piece of cloth being pulled. I stood, slid the case toward me. I held up a clear sealed sleeve with the originals, the pending investigation letter, and the notarized unauthorized use statement. The chain of custody slip was taped outside. I'd filled in date, time, and contents, left the signature blank. "The originals," I said, "will follow procedure." Paul stepped closer, voice lowered. "Don't make a scene. Let me hold that bag. Men can talk." "No," I said. "This isn't a matter between men. It's a matter of paper." Lena edged in, her hand on my elbow, her perfume sharp as a slice of lemon. "Just unlock the money and it's over." "No," I repeated. "I locked it by the book. Anyone with something to say can say it in writing." Tyler blew hard through his nose. Sweat showed along his collar seam. He avoided Rosa's eyes. Rosa still stood by the wall clock, arms light around her packet like an album. I watched her check the time once more. I knew she'd remember every line. "Don't make a scene. Let me hold the bag. Unlock the money." Word for word. She'd been a school secretary. Some people are trained to remember on behalf of others. 7:49 p.m. The doorbell rang, a clean single chime. The room shifted weight like a boat. I stepped out. On the porch, Officer Cole stood in uniform, cap brim low, notebook in hand. "Here to receive the originals as scheduled," he said, loud enough for the sound to slip through the door into the dining room. I handed over the sealed sleeve, my fingers holding the tape. "Please read the case number and time." Cole uncapped his pen and read clearly, "Investigation case F14209 AD. Receipt time, 1950. He offered the pen. I signed the chain of custody slip at the seal line. Glenn Avery. Cole signed beneath and wrote his badge number. He checked the tape, pressed the edge. Seal intact. He slid the sleeve into his evidence bag. The zipper made a small, clean rasp. Behind me, Tyler rose halfway, then stalled. Lena didn't move, her face flat as fresh paint. Paul leaned on the chair back, lips pressed. Forks lay still, the light glinting on them like small dead fish. One of Paul's friends folded his packet and tucked it into his coat, steering his eyes away from Tyler. "Have a safe evening," Cole said, neither cold nor warm. "From here, submit anything further in writing." "I know," I said. I doubt I smiled, but my mouth felt light. I stood 1 second on the threshold before coming back in. I heard wind in the front trees, and inside I heard the paper. I returned to the table. No one said, "Let's eat." I sat, slid my packet toward the center, as if placing a stone in a riverbed. "As promised, I'll keep this brief," I said. "I need everyone to understand. This isn't about anger, it's about boundaries. I'm not taking what belongs to anyone. I'm also not giving what isn't mine to give." I looked at each person once, not stopping at Tyler. "That's all." Rosa dipped her head. The neighbor on the right whispered, "Using a company to buy gifts? That's bad." The other answered with a thin, "Yeah." Paul stammered, Let's eat before it gets cold." No one laughed. Flatware scraped a little, then quit. I saw one of Paul's partners pull out his phone under the table, fire off a text, then glance at me. I figured they were slotting out the coming days the way you schedule AC maintenance. Clear time, clear fee, clear task. I didn't touch the wine. I drank water. It went down clean and smooth. Across the glass, the yellow light laid a faint signature. I thought of the 12,400 from this morning, of the 2 photos in the clear pocket, of the confirmation letter with Hector's ink. Tonight I didn't need a raised voice. I needed signatures and timestamps set in their places before 12 people. I squared my packet back toward me. "If anyone has anything," I said one last time, "please send an email. I'll respond." I stood and pushed my chair in. No one stopped me. Paul watched me through the chandelier's bright ring, his lips still tight. I passed Rosa. She tilted her head. "I have the time," she whispered. I stepped outside. Phoenix night was still warm. I opened the truck and set the case on the passenger seat. Inside were 11 packets already given and one for me. I started the engine. In the rear view, Paul's yellow light sat still like a page that's just been folded shut. Next morning at Marcos's glass-walled office, the coffee machine hummed softly. Fresh paper smell mixed with the plastic tang of clip binders. I set the yellow binder on the table and opened to Low C, Letter of Conditions. Page 1 held the line I'd written after midnight. "One last help, under conditions." Marcos pushed his glasses up and read line by line. 2 weeks to get a job, he said. 6 months with no ask for money. 1 Sunday call each week, 10 minutes only to say I'm still working. No using the company card. No pulling money from the company under any label. He tapped his pen on the table's edge. "Clear." "I want a disbursement mechanism," I said. I placed a thick sealed white envelope on the table, the front labeled $1,000, final time. "This envelope doesn't change hands," I said. "You hold it. You release it only if, within 14 days, Tyler produces proof of employment, offer letter, first pay stub, or an employee badge photo." Marcos tilted his head. "You're sure? This could trigger the old cycle." "You help," he leans. "I help once more, with terms," I said. "If he leans on a job." Marcos smiled a little, not because it was funny. "All right, I'll hold the envelope in trust. If day 14 ends at 11:59 p.m. without proof, the envelope expires. I'll have an automatic email go out." "Good." I flipped to the calendar. "After last night's dinner, we need to notify all parties. Bank, payroll, the watch boutique. From here on, everything runs through the bank's investigations unit or the police line. No verbal agreements. Marcos nodded. I'll draft the template. You just hit send. He looked at me over the frames. And you, remember, don't cave at the 90-minute mark. I'm done saving anyone with money, I said. I'm saving myself with terms. 9:45 a.m., we did a final pass on the LOC and printed 2 copies on heavy paper, clip set. The Sunday call line had a light underline. At the bottom, a block for a signature. I have read and understand the conditions of voluntary assistance, not a long-term support contract. Marcos added a receipt page for the $1,000. Activates only if employed within 14 days is met. Non-refundable if violated. Oh, Marcos's draft email popped onto the screen. Notice, from now on, all verification regarding the watch charge, suspicious transfers, will be handled through the bank's investigations team. The boutique will verify bill to name only against the case number. Payroll to freeze any owner draw absent written approval. I hit send. We weren't processing feelings. We were processing procedure. The law office lobby had a ceiling camera and 2 brown leather chairs set symmetrically. Tyler arrived 3 minutes late. Black tee, ball cap pulled low. He stood staring at reception like someone else might answer for him. Sit, I said. I set 2 LOC copies on the glass table with the $1,000 final acknowledgement. Marco sat 1 chair away, his hand resting across the sealed envelope. I'll be brief, I began. This is the letter of conditions. 2 weeks to get a job. 6 months without asking for money. A 10-minute call every Sunday. No touching the company card or funds. The $1,000 final time is not handed over. It only activates if, within 14 days, you show proof of employment. Tyler leaned back and gave a short laugh. Make it 3 weeks. Hiring is an instant. And the weekly call sounds like a parole officer. No, I said. 2 weeks, 10 minutes. Just, I'm still working. No scolding in the call, just information. He glanced around to see who was listening. The camera blinked a red dot. Marcos waited, silent. Tyler snorted through his nose. So what am I signing? This isn't some long-term support contract. Correct, I said. It isn't. These are the terms for the last help. I touched the read and understood line. Sign here. He picked up the pen and spun it between thumb and forefinger like a plastic knife. What if I call and you don't pick up? I will. Sundays, 10 minutes, fixed time. He ducked his head and signed, leaning letters. Marcos slid over the $1,000 conditional receipt. Sign that you've read it. Funds not dispersed. Tyler signed again. The second signature shook more than the first. A sour sweat cut through the coffee smell. Reception set 2 paper cups on a side table. Tyler didn't touch them. He eyed the white envelope in Marcos's hand. What if I don't make it in time? His voice dropped. His eyes rimmed a little red. His finger tapped the chair edge in a small, unconscious rhythm. Then there's no disbursement, I said, and the investigation file runs on its own. I tapped the LOC margin. No retaliation, no yelling, just process. Marcos looked up, professional but not cold. There's a camera here, he said evenly. This is for clarity. Tyler swallowed. He wanted to say more. I watched the jaw flex. Then he caught the red dot, caught Marcus's eyes and pressed it down. He stood, folded his LOC in half and shoved it into his jacket pocket. He didn't offer a hand, neither did I. He walked straight out, a thin draft trailing behind him. 12:10 p.m. In the elevator down, my phone buzzed, an email from Anita. Notice received will continue to verify bill to name through the bank. Right after came one from Officer Cole. Chain of custody entry from last night logged. Case number unchanged. Last night's pieces meshed like teeth in a gear. The student services office at Santa Vista Technical felt bright and wide. I sat across from the coordinator. The small placard read, HVAC Apprenticeship Program. I set down a folder. Sarah Avery HVAC Skills Fund. I'd like to establish a small scholarship, I said. Priority for self-supporting students and veterans. She read the bylaws I drafted. Do you want the fund under Avery family or Sarah Avery? Just Sarah Avery, I said. She's the best part of this family. She smiled. Any conditions for recipients? I want them to commit to completing their apprenticeship and to at least 6 months in the trade after graduation, I said, and felt myself smile. They don't need to call me every Sunday. They just need to work. We signed where needed. Blue ink dried fast. I shifted a portion of assets, the money that used to drain into a bottomless hole, into a well with a bottom, a measuring stick, and the sound of water rising. Late afternoon, Rosa texted, "If the police need it, I'm ready with a statement about last night." I replied, "Thank you." I didn't feel triumphant. I felt light, like a brick finally set in the right place. 7:10 p.m., a breeze on my porch. I opened the yellow binder. First page, Officer Cole's signed receipt. Next, the bank's confirmation with the round branch seal. Anita's email in color. The 2:15 p.m. demand letter with proof of submission. And the LOC with Tyler's crooked signature resting neatly under "not a long-term contract." I ran my fingers along each edge the way you test the rail of a newly installed bridge. I pulled open the desk's lower cabinet. Inside, I placed the photo of the watch box and the $15 gloves. I turned the key. The lock made one clean rotation, the sound of a period landing. My phone buzzed. The neighbor across the street. "Heard you handled things properly." I typed, "Just paperwork." I deleted the last two words. "That's all," then sent it. No need to belittle what's been done right. I sat on the porch. On my laptop screen, Marcos's automated email sat open. $1,000 envelope, pending. Expires, 115 days, 11:59 p.m. Under it, two small buttons. Disperse when evidence provided, and cancel. There was no pity button. I closed the lid. Phoenix sky cooled to slow black. I said, not loud, "If he meets it, I'll keep the Sunday calls. If not, I don't have to do anything else. From here, my road won't be rough with mercy. It has signs, speed limits, and straight white lines." I went inside. The kitchen was dark, only the dishwasher light blinking like a slow pulse. On the table, the yellow binder was closed. I set my hand on it. Outside, the trees whispered. Inside, I heard a brand new quiet. If you enjoyed the story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts about it in the comments. To hear the next story, click the box on the left.